Welcome to the Leadership Spark podcast, where we equip you to be the great leader your people deserve. It's Hampton and Corey here, and I know that we have people from all walks of life listening to this podcast. We have leaders formally, we have people who are aspiring leaders, we have people with really big teams, really small teams, we have frontline leaders, middle managers, executives, all kinds of people listening to this podcast. But some of you may want to be a manager for the first time. Some of you may be a middle manager right now and you want to be an executive. But today we're going to talk about navigating the jump from that frontline leader role all the way to an executive.
Yeah, and this was inspired by a Harvard Business Review article that I read recently that was talking about this idea of going through different levels of leadership wherever you are and how you progress through that, and the shifts that you have to make, because the skills that make you great at where you are today aren't necessarily the same skills that you just need to have those skills on steroids to make you successful at a different level. A lot of times it requires something different. And this can be disorienting for some leaders because you get confused, you get promoted to whatever level you want to think about here, and you get disoriented and confused because what worked doesn't work anymore and you don't know why. And so there are shifts that have to happen if you want to step into the next level of leadership. And so in this Harvard Business Review article, it shares three that we'll unpack here. 3 shifts that you need to make if you want to move to the next level in leadership. The first is that you have to shift from being an expert to a coach. And we talk about this as what? More what?
More Yoda, less Superman.
More Yoda. That's this idea of that you don't need to be the expert. You were the expert and you still may be the expert, but if you want to scale your team, you can't be the expert every time. You have to coach your team. And so you don't need to be the smartest person in the room anymore when you're making this shift. You need to grow the smartest people in the room, which is a completely different mindset and paradigm if you think about it that way, to where you begin to, instead of giving answers, you begin to ask questions like, what's the real challenge here? And you create space for people to dialogue about that. Or what options have you considered? What would you do if I weren't here? I like to ask the question, hey, Hampton, if you were the CEO, you came in today to work and you were promoted to be the CEO of WildSpark, what decision would you make? And the whole purpose of that is, maybe a lot of times it's like, I really need your help with figuring it out. But sometimes I may know the answer, but I want you to start to think about that so that you can grow in your own comfort and competency being able to make those decisions, because you will need to make those decisions as a leader, an executive one day whenever I am working for you in whatever company that is. All right. So you need to move from expert to coach. The second is you need to move from execution to impact through others. And so again, measuring success for you isn't your ability to tick off your tasks anymore. It's about how can you make other people successful? How can you get things done through other people? And so your days may look different. Instead of you doing your own work, you may be doing more coaching, having more one-on-ones, conversations, tough decisions that you have to make. And you may leave work feeling like, I had to talk all day and I didn't get anything done. Well, you got a lot of stuff done if you did those aspects of leading. And so it has a compounding effect. And so you want to move from your focus on execution and shift to thinking about your impact through others. And the last one is that you're going to move from oversight to scalable systems. And so when you lead leaders, think you're an executive CEO one day and you have all these hundreds, hopefully thousands of people that are part of your organization and tens of dozens of leaders. When you're leading leaders, you can't track down every detail. You will drown if you try to do that. It's just, you can't scale that way. So instead of that, you have to clarify what really matters. You need systems in place that allow you to scale. And so maybe it's things like revenue targets, or for you in your world, it's customer retention or expansion or key hiring decisions. But you have to build systems to create the visibility that you need so that you can get access to data fast and insights to be able to make fast decisions, because you can't track down the details. And so you need things like dashboards. You need things like updates. You need things like one-on-one meetings and weekly staff meetings or leader meetings, whatever you want to call it. You need a clear escalation path for how things should get to you, or what decisions do you want to empower other people to make, or do you want to make as the leader? And so you can create these systems that will allow you to scale instead of having oversight over everything. You just don't need that as a leader. And so these are 3 things as you move in your career. Hopefully all of you listening to this will take on more and more responsibility. You have to learn how to move from being an expert to a coach. You have to learn how to move from execution to impacting through others. You have to learn from moving to micromanaging, or that's a bad word, but oversight into having scalable systems that allow everyone to move fast. And if you do that, you'll have a chance to be successful whenever I'm working for you one day, Hampton. So you remember this podcast one day whenever you check LinkedIn and Hampton's been promoted to CEO of Company X and Corey's part of his team.